Hey people, what's going on? Welcome to Real Tough Talk. Tough Talk.
How is that even possible?
Tough Talk.
Whoa!
Stephen J. partner goes,
Show some respect. You did not answer the question.
he's a bad man.
Bad man.
He's a bad. He finally said it.
The slipper's gone. The dress has holes in it. The cart turned into a pumpkin again. So what else you gonna
I
do?
guess this team couldn't cover a twin mattress with a king size sheet.
Lights out season.
Lights out for you. Let's get as quick into the game as possible because I am not staying in this wig longer than I have to.
I want to party. Play it out, bro, while you talking this game. All right, people. All right, what is going on? What is going on? It is a blessing, and I'm so humble to have you guys with us on the first episode of Real Tough Talk. I'm your host, Stephen J. Here with my co-host, Ghost, and my man Lou, the shooter, with us today. Guys, first of all, welcome back. Hopefully, y'all guys enjoyed your vacation. Give me an update. How y'all guys doing, man?
I'm just working, going home. That's pretty much what I'm doing. And it's a treat to do these little off season videos talking about what's upcoming. The things that that's being hinted about, the rumors, the trade rumors that you always love talking about, stuff like that. So it's always a treat to come back and do a short video here and there.
Lou, give me the same question. Same question for you. What do you think? What's going on with you?
Not much. Happy to be alive another year. Happy to be back. Looking forward to the season, and still hoping and praying that Stephen J gets saved. But and some things only come through fasting and praying. So I need to lose weight anyway. So,
well, speaking of that, I have been starting my daily fast when I go to work. So I've been doing that, Monday through Friday. I actually do, what is it called? The warrior fast?
Okay, he's on the warrior diet.
Yes. So pretty much from the moment I wake up in the morning, I do not eat until like 8 o'clock at night. So I go to work. The main thing I consume is probably coffee, maybe some tea, no sugar, no anything of that nature. And I work through the day. I come home, and at 8 o'clock, I'm able to play around with specific things that I eat. But that's pretty much my meal of the day before I set up for the night. But it's been working good, and I haven't been feeling sluggish. I've been having more energy lately, so I think that it's working good so far for me.
well, include some prayer so Stephen J can get saved.
Well,
I'll definitely do that.
One question goes, what made you decide to do this diet?
Because one, a man is broke and it's very expensive to eat in Manhattan. So, I can't afford to eat, constantly out there. So I'm like, listen, I have to change something because I can't afford to eat out here. And two, sometimes when I do eat during like probably lunch or whatever, throughout the rest of the day, I feel sluggish. I don't really feel good, especially during those times before I go home. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not one that likes to take out too much stuff in my diet. So the way I'm fasting and I'm able to eat at home, I'm able to eat more stuff that I enjoy eating. And, more of it, just that one meal will be my biggest meal of the day, my only meal of the day. And it's been working so far. This is the third week I'm on, and it's been good.
All right, man, we're going to wish you luck for that. And now, with that being said, we're going to jump into our main topic we came to talk about on the show. And it's good that you talked about basically taking ownership of your diet, your health, because that's the first thing we're going to talk about this off-season show. We're here to talk about don't sleep. This team came in last season. They were 2-6. They was one of the worst teams in the league. They did go to a wild card. They won a wild card game, which was a playoff game, beating Street Fam. But again, they ended up playing Monarchs in the next round, got blown out. So now the question comes down to what percentage you give on who, as far as the failure, because you got to call it failure, of don't sleep. Do you say, what do you say is the actual roster, the ownership, or the quarterback? I'll start off with you, Ghost. What is your percentage for each play, for each thing, between the roster, the ownership, and the quarterback?
I would say the quarterback would be about 25%.
Okay.
I would say the staff, or the players on the rest of the players or whatever. That was a category, right? The
Right.
staff, right? That's a even 25%, and I think the rest of the 50% goes to the ownership. So
Okay.
I think that's the main issue, because that's where all of the problems stem from. Because guys are not being put in the right place. There's moments where Mick is not being protected properly because the adjustments are not happening the way it needs to. So I think that ownership needs to really step up and make the adjustments that this team needs in the moments that they need it. I think that's the main issue. The other issues are a symptom of the ownership issue, and I think that's where the problems lie.
Why do you give Mick 25%?
Because a lot of it wasn't really his fault. My thing is, okay, I was one that was really hard on Mick coming into the season. I was one that said, and I stand by that statement that said, week one, I'm going to have my questions. Week one is where I'm going to start making my judgments. And, as the season moved along, he proved me wrong in a lot of aspects. Now, it wasn't perfect. Finishing the season 2-6, there's no way I could say that was perfect or anything of that nature. But I saw a lot of those games. There was a lot of drop passes. There were times where Mick is under pressure. He's not successful under pressure. He's not a runner. So without the protection, he's pretty much a deer in headlights. So a lot of times he does what he can with what he has in front of him, but it's not enough to only blame him. Now, the defense had a lot of shortcomings as well. There was a lot of times where they couldn't hold anybody. They kept the game close in a lot of games, but they gave away key plays to give the other team wins. So, then the offense, of course, with the drops, like I told you before, that was a big issue too. But I think because the ownership didn't take the reins and make the decisions and make the switches that were needed to be made, that's why I think I put the onus on the ownership more than anything else.
Lou, what is your percentage? Same question. How much do you put on the ownership? How much do you put on the roster? And how much you put on the quarterback?
Well, I'm going to be light on Mick because, I was tough on him all season. Now, his numbers weren't great. He did have 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 11 sacks, though. That's big. You know what I'm saying? Like Go said, he's not a runner, and they really didn't protect him. I would say I'd give him 15%.
Oh, right? So you're nicer than me right now. That's
I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
You was harder on him than I was, I think.
I know. What was I saying about the rats jumping off the ship? So Ducky's arm isn't the greatest, but he can get it done. I was watching some videos today, and I'm like, yo, he was making some passes. Management needs to go find another job because their decision making was horrid.
Yeah.
First of all, they should have never drafted Prince Mo. I don't care what anybody says. I would have went Alex or Corey.
Okay.
At the end of the day, because you needed a quarterback. Even though Mick had 18, wasn't that far from Corey. Corey had what, 24 or something like that?
Yeah. All right. 25, I believe.
25. The thing is, Prince Mo, I don't think he had a touchdown. If he did, he might have had one that whole season. One touchdown. Your second round pick had no touchdowns.
Wow.
Okay. So I don't know if I should get into it as far as how their roster is going to look carrying on, but it's going to be bad. So I would say, let me see, 21. I'm going to give him 15. I would say 60% on the ownership, and whatever's left over is on the roster. And all of it goes together. I say 85% roster and management.
Okay.
Because management,
so 60.
they're
yeah,
horrible.
60%.
No, I'm giving them 85 for both. 85
Okay,
for
so
both.
you doing 85, you combining the both.
85
Okay.
for management, because management is the one who takes care of the roster.
So you putting them all in one?
I'll put them all in one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
Don't sleep needs to go back to sleep. I know why they can't sleep, because they're worried about how next season is going to be.
Now, y'all guys are nice.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna give Mick 5%.
Wow.
That's a good number.
5% for Mick.
Yeah.
5%. I'm gonna go Lou route, but I'm not going to put anything on the roster because ownership picked this roster.
Yep.
So I'm giving ownership 95% of the blame. 95% of the blame. And I'm going to tell you
and
why.
before you break it down, I'm just saying, so pretty much we're practically in unison for blaming the ownership.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But you know what
Without
the
a
thing
doubt.
is? You know, this is what I love about Real Tough Talk and Stephen J. and the way we do it. See how you knew the basics of what's going on? Lou now jumping at numbers. He's giving you the numbers. Love it. But you know, when I get my numbers on, it's like an accountant. Next level. And I'm even going to talk about last season. So let me get all my paperwork together. Let me talk about Mick. You know, Mick has been disrespected. No. Can he move and run and is elusive like Jeremy? No. Can he go downfield and give you a bomb downfield easy like a Ramsey or Corey? No.
He has to have a good wind.
Does he have the mastermind to know what play to call at certain times like Chuck? No. But at the end of the day, he has his style. And his style worked. He was top 5 in touchdown passes last year. And that's some good things to hear. But you know what's even more crazy than that? When I went through the stats, they were 6 quarterbacks that threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, right, in the game.
Okay.
Now, there were only 3 quarterbacks that did it twice, more than twice, 2 or more times. And there was only 1 quarterback that did it against the top 5 defense, and that was Mick. Mick threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against Rep City. Mick threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions against Monarchs. That's 1 and 4 in defense. Now, Chuck did it. Chuck did it 4 times also, right? But he did it versus the 10th overall defense. He did it versus the 3rd overall defense. He did it versus the 8th overall defense and the 7th overall defense. Mick did it versus 2 top 5 defenses. JJ only did it once. Ramsey, he did it 3 times also. But Ramsey did it versus the 2nd defense, the 9th defense, and the 10th defense. Mick only did it versus 2 top 5 defenses. And you know what's the funny thing about that also? In those games that he did that, he didn't throw a touchdown pass to any drafted players doing it. Chuck did. Ramsey did. JJ did. The only quarterback that threw 2 multiple games of 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, but did it with no interceptions. Now, Chuck did do it. He did it 4 times. 2 times he did it when not a drafted player, but that was against the 8th and 7th defense, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Mick did it versus 2 top 5 defenses. That's something to be said. You got to say, wow. You got to throw respect on his name when you look at it that way, because numbers are numbers. Then I'm getting into what's going on. I'm breaking it down, and I'm like, listen, Mick, we talk about Mick having not a great season, but it's 7 interceptions. Corey threw 7. Corey had much more firepower than Mick. he threw 24, Mick threw 18. He had way more firepower than Mick. Mick only threw 7 intos. Now, Mick did get sacked 11 times. But a lot of those games, Shaq wasn't there. So he can't block for himself. This is what I want to say. Reason I blame management. And I think I'm a Joel fan. I think Joel is a great player. He's a great guy. But Joel has to be one of the worst GMs in ever. 2020, he has the 7th overall pick. He picks Femi. You know who goes after Femi? Prince Mo. You know who goes after Prince Mo? Santana. Santana led Raiders to one of the best defenses in the league. Prince Mo helped get grind time to a Final Four. And had Prince Mo not been hurt, they probably beat DG. On the other hand, last season, you figure he's going to do it better, right? He has the number 1 overall pick. He picks Prince Mo. You know, sometimes when they say you got to get rid of a player, rather a year too early than a year too late, he picked Prince Mo a year too late because he's like, you know what? I don't want to mess it up now. I'm going to pick Prince Mo. You know who went after Prince Mo number 2? Lil. 9 touchdowns. He was second in Offensive Player of the Year votes only because he didn't make enough games. You know who went third? Alex, who ends up winning a championship. You know who goes fourth? Jay Will, who ends up guiding Raiders to a championship.
To make it to a championship, yes.
Yeah, got him to an appearance. Prince Mo numbers was 1 touchdown, 1 extra point, one 2-point conversion, 1 in total, 1 run back. So he gave you 2 touchdowns, right? Lil, Alex, and Jay Will gave you 21 touchdowns, 3 extra points, 4 interceptions, and a sack. So all that opportunity you had, you didn't get it. And you know why? Then you get a quarterback who does not have a strong arm. Rather than getting him a guy like Lil that can bail him out on the jump ball, he gets him a fast downfield guy in Prince Mo. Then he gets a Rico, who maybe Rico of 7 years ago, but Rico really can't make people miss anymore. That's the guy you get in the 2nd round for him. And I'm not saying Rico's a bad player, but it don't fit. And Rico's not going to make all his games. So these are the things you drafted. So whose fault is that? That's not Mick's fault. You had opportunity to get Mick weapons and you didn't. Then you're still going through, you know, it's like when you get married, you marry a girl, right? But you realize the only reason she married you is because a guy she really wanted went marry someone else. Because
that analogy, though.
That is the only reason Mick is a quarterback. Because sometimes we even see Casey making appearances. Am I right, Lou? Am I right, Ghost?
Yeah.
I'm already happily married. Why would I be thinking about my ex?
Bring your side chick up.
He still kind of have feelings for that ex. So Mick is not, even though Mick put up these numbers, and check this out, Ghost and Shooter. Do you know Mick has threw more touchdown passes last season than Reem and Casey did the 2 seasons before? The 2 seasons before, he has thrown more touchdowns than them combined. And less interceptions. Mick by himself. Last year's his starter, Reem. The year before, KC. He had better numbers than them. Come on, bro.
Listen,
let me. This is the Ghost. Lou, listen to this. In player drafted production, meaning scores, don't sleep, was 8th in drafted players' production, scoring-wise. There was an 8th. You know what year? The year before they was in? They were in last. So your production from the players you drafted are some of the worst in the league. Let me tell you something. Last point before I wrap this one up. And we'll go over this. When I did the numbers also, this is the best one. We had 7 teams return from when we first overall did the draft. 7 teams came back.
Yeah.
Do you know Don't Sleep has the worst record out of all them other 7? 5-12. They are 5-12 since the UFL introduced the draft. You had Monarchs 12-5, UTF 11-6, PME 10-7, DG 10-7, Rep City 98, LES 8-9. Don't Sleep is 5-12. So let me ask you a question. If I go to a restaurant, do I blame the waiter for the food that he brings me out? No. The cook made it. The waiter just served it. So we gonna be mad at the waiter? He's doing what he can do. He gets sacked. He's not fast. That's his fault. He's not great at stretching the field. He don't got an arm. That's his fault. He going to use what God gave him. But when you have a GM showing that he needs to be fired, then something is wrong. I just gave you numbers. Now, people going to get mad and say this and say this and say that. But y'all guys know me. And one thing I do is I'm efficient with my numbers. I showed you the things that Mick has done. And he takes a lot of the hits. They even laughed at him when he won Rookie of the Year. He was the best rookie.
Yeah.
Is it his fault? Now, I always got a bonus thing. Don't Sleeps. Let me get the numbers right here. It's in my book. Because I made sure I went through everything. Don't Sleep's defense, 2020, 9th offense out of 14 teams. 9th defense out of 14 teams. In 2020, the first year of the draft. Last year in the draft, they were 7th out of the 10 teams. They were the worst defense, 10th out of the 10 teams. Sacks, they were 4th in 2020. They dropped to 5th in 2022. Interceptions, they were 7th in 2020. Interceptions, they was 8th in 2022. This team has gotten bad. They got bad to worse, and that's Mick's fault? No. You need to blame the GM. You need to blame the cook. Just because, now, Don't Sleep is a respected franchise. They're known. But just because the name is known, that don't mean the food is good. You can't keep going to the restaurant and saying the food is good because you like the restaurant atmosphere. No. If the food is bad, the food is bad. And the cook needs to change because right now in EHS, they're 0-5.
Why you had to bring that up, Jay?
Same cook in the kitchen.
Dang,
I love Joel, but you need to find talent. And the talent is EHS. Look at these teams that's in the league that got players that's on the come up. You can't continuously go with the same guys that are not producing wins.
Jay, on that point, right?
And I dropped the mic.
Don't Sleep has they're getting, some of their veterans are getting older. They look like a bunch of Puerto Ricans playing dominoes in East Harlem. You know what I'm saying? They're not fast anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They can still catch, but like you said, EHS, it's management needs to rethink some things.
Now you need to start making this more mixed team. I need to see EB, that was his tight end. I love that guy. He can catch with people on him, which is what Mick needs. Mick needs guys that can separate and that can catch with people on him. I think Lil kind of does that. But because He didn't want Reem. He didn't get Lil. And that is your ego. And that is your pride. And I believe pride can keep you out of heaven. He needed to pick Lil. It made too much sense. And you know what you do? You rebuild. They had Benny. Benny left. They had Leak. Leak left. Rob is going into the draft. And when Rob came, it's like he really didn't want to be there. They went with Dave. Dave didn't show up to most of the games. So you went in the core of the wrong way. You got Prince Moore a year too late.
Yeah.
And now your team is suffering. Now they have the 4th pick in this year's draft. I hope you don't mess it up. I hope you don't mess it up. You better pick something that can help your quarterback, help this defense, because they were the worst in the league last year. Numbers don't lie. This is not a personal shot to Joel, the player. I think Joel player still can make people miss. He helps milk out the backfield. Rico and Mick and Joel don't work. I'm trading Rico. Trying to see what I can get for Rico. I'm going to trade him. And Prince Mo, if I can flip him, I'm going to flip him too. You got to send him to a team that does not need him there every week. He's not coming to the Super Friends game. So you can't depend on him here. So you need to trade him. That's what I would do. Get Mick some weapons because he needed. You got a third round pick, 4th overall. Make it work. Try to rebuild your team because right now, eventually, if the food is bad, either the waiter's going to quit or the actual name of the restaurant starts falling.
Listen, I just got to say this. There's certain things that need to change. I believe that there needs to be a game plan for Mick when the blitz is coming. Joel needs to be one of the guys that should be a target out there. I don't think Rico played enough games to help them on that offensive side as well. He could have been one of those options to help with the blitz. You need 2 guys.
That's what he does, Ghost. I understand what you're saying. And my thing is, you got a good point. But it wasn't the offense. Mick was top 5 in passes, touchdown passes. Their defense is horrible. They're the worst defense in the league.
Top 5 with 10 teams in the league. That's not saying much. It's only 10 teams. So, okay, he's in the top 5. But that doesn't mean much when it's only 10 teams. Now, if there was 20 teams, then that's different. Then that means he's on the upper echelon. No, he's right in the middle. He's right in the middle area.
That's the type of quarterback he is. He's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback.
Listen, and again, I am not coming at Mick at all. What I'm saying is there needs to be a game plan when the pressure is coming. I think that is his Achilles heel in this league. When pressure's coming, he falls apart. And it's not on him. He needs either protection and receivers that's going to be there for him to go to right away. Because there's some times where the blocker's not going to have enough time to protect him. So that ball needs to be released right away. So things like that. The Prince Mo thing, I agree. They need to fish and see if they can find something else because Prince Mo does not fit with their team. Prince Mo's a downfield guy. Mick is not a downfield quarterback. You could see it in certain plays. You could see it in Prince Mo's face. He was frustrated out there. He was looking for certain plays that was not reaching him. So he gets frustrated, and that kind of down, like it weighs down on his play and everything else that he's doing. You know, Rico not attending kind of hurts. And you can't expect Rico not showing up in a regular season to be the top echelon player in the playoffs. That's not how it's going to work. And that's not how it did work. Anymore.
He's a UFL. He's a first ballot UFL Hall of Famer. But he's not that player anymore. He can't carry a team anymore.
No, but that's my point. My thing is, even if he was, I don't think just showing up in the playoffs is going to be enough. That's what I'm saying. You got to have a game plan that's going to be consistent and work from the regular season through the playoffs. I don't think they had that. They were all over the place last season.
And before you jump in, Lou, you know what I feel bad for? The guy who has been the most consistent on this team is Mike.
Yeah.
Mike has been the most consistent player on this team. And I see him even throwing the EHS, and it's hurting his numbers of his overall play. Mike has raised, he's a former All-Star MVP. The guy has moved from corner to safety. He's a good player. and they're supposed to be building around him, but they can't, and they don't, and he gets lost in the cog. I like Chris. Chris is an undersized corner. He's always been an undersized corner, but the guy plays with heart. So if you can get another high corner with height, you can cheat Mike to Chris' side for the over the top. The underneath, Chris can guard that. But when it's taller receivers, if you get a strong corner on one side, you can slide him. How's that get fixed? By drafting Leo. Leo goes to the safety. Reem can play the corner with Mike at the strong safety, Lil at the free safety, Chris at the corner, Reem at the other corner.
All right, we're talking dreams. That's never gonna happen. Because
Go ahead,
I believe Reem and Leo's already sold on prime
time. Yeah, I'm just saying what he should have
dream
done.
long gone already.
Well, I'm not a prophet nor a son of a prophet, but wasn't I calling that's who they should have went with?
Correct.
And look, if you're giving them 95%, after this season, it might go to 100. Because look, they're gonna lose AB because you get rid of Prince Mo, if he's not already on his way out.
Correct.
Chris, who barely played from Super Friends.
Chris said he doesn't know who he's going with. So that means
He's
Sleep
gone.
is not his first choice.
Dave is gone, even though Dave barely showed up. They're losing to the draft.
Rob.
Yeah.
The other one is
but you know what's
gone.
funny, Lou? All the people that you thought you was gonna get from drafting Prince Mo barely came. Joe has to be one of the worst drafting GMs of history.
I wonder if he even
How
spoke.
you get it wrong 2 years ago?
How you even if you even spoke to Prince
Say
Mo
again?
to see if, because I said I wonder if he even spoke to Prince Mo to know whether or not he was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what's your schedule? Because the reason he was out a lot was because he coaches, right? That's what it was. So you need to know these things. And like you said, I don't think Prince Mo's played this season for Super Friends.
No, I don't remember seeing him. Listen, flip
Dave
Prince
has
Mo
it.
for B-Roy. Put Prince Mo back with Lou on Street Fam. B-Roy goes over to play with Shaq and them guys. He gives him a strong presence over in the middle of that linebacker. He helps the defense, who's one of the worst in the league. You can't say Roy going to Street Fam and helping him get the number 3 overall defense didn't have something to do with him.
Listen, but at the end of the day, again, we cannot rely on dreams. Listen, why would Street Fam trade someone like B-Roy who has been showing up for someone who we know is not going to show up?
And
That's
who's
not gonna
committed.
happen.
And who's committed.
So what's your final thoughts, Lou?
Don't Sleep is gonna probably win negative games, and it's gonna be a sad season. There'll be a lot of slow singing.
I mean, they're going to be a few. Right now, we know the players we got committed to the draft will be Carver West, the Nightmares Rob, Carver Henry, and they just added Kai.
Now,
Kai
I think here's the thing. Yeah,
Kai playing with EHS now.
Kai played with the Monarchs last season.
Okay.
Yeah. So now here's
Kai
the
has
thing.
completely jumped up the rankings for the draft. So
Here's the
I
thing.
think he's a great player. That's a sleeper.
Kai
Don't
from who?
Sleep- Huh?
Kai from where?
From he plays with the
Where he used to play
Nightmares
with?
now. He played with the Monarchs.
Okay, and Kai from the Nightmares. Okay,
So
make sure I put that in right now. And Kai from the Nightmares. Now go,
check
Lou.
this out. Kai or West to Don't Sleep makes them a little better because Mickey is used to them. He knows them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I spoke to West, and West wouldn't mind going.
I don't think
to
West
Don't
is
Sleep.
going to be there
No,
for.
I don't think so neither. But either him or Kai will be there.
Yeah. I think Kai's their
So-
best bet. I think I like Kai because I think he's going to show, because a lot of, you know how people go, they're gonna be like, Kai don't belong in the draft. Where they
Kai
said that
runs
about
routes.
Matrix, and now Matrix is
Yeah.
a champion. Matrix
Yeah.
helped Ramsey have one of the best years in Ramsey's career. So
Yep.
we don't worry about what people say and think, but I think Kai can put the the TFL on notice on what he can do, because if he goes there, he's their number one guy. He's their savior because they don't know what they're getting from Prince Mo. So I think that's the key. But again, any final thoughts, Ghost, before we wrap it up?
It's gonna be interesting, but they gotta make the best decisions for Don't Sleep have to happen now. It has to happen in this draft, because if not, it's gonna be a third season in a row that they play lackluster, and that's something that they can't afford.
My final thoughts. Again, I think Joel is a hell of a player. One thing about his team, they had a bad record last year. They won a playoff game. The year before, they had a bad record. They won a playoff game. So this team can get wins in the playoffs. Got to give them that.
One win.
But at the end of the day, and actually the year before that, they won a playoff game when they beat PME. So this team makes noise. So yeah, they beat Street Fam last year. They beat Blackout the year before, and they beat PME the year before that. So this team can win playoff games. The key is you got to start bringing that name back. You got to bring back that Don't Sleep to mean something in the name. And the only way you're going to do that is you got to get new groceries. You can't keep trying to cook the same meal and wonder why it has a stale taste. The ingredients are the same. You have to make changes. You have to get Mick more involved. You have to let the KC thing go and let Mick know that I'm your guy. Even if KC was here, you're my guy. Even if you don't believe it, you got to make Mick feel that way. And that way Mick will bring his guys in. Again, EB, you got to bring that. He has to be involved. I liked when they had Sunray coming in the beginning. You have to get more of Mick guys involved, and you have to look in EHS because there is a lot of talent and unknowns in this league, and you got to find them. If you do that, you have an opportunity. But I do not blame Mick at all. I only gave him 5%, and now it's because of his sacks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank y'all guys for the first show. Real Tough Talk. On behalf of Real Tough Talk, I'm Stephen J. We're going to say goodbye to my partner, Ghost, Lou the Shooter down there. We're going to see y'all guys on the next show. Off season, baby. Season coming in September. Draft coming in July. A lot of things happening. We'll see y'all guys soon. We out of here.